Hello everyone, my name is Alberto and welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to show you how to do this brioche stitch scarf in two colors. You will need a couple of colors of yarn, obviously, a straight needle and a cable needle. In this case, I tried to use these new Prim ergonomic needles. I found them great. They have a triangular shape and this little ball at the end, which is supposed to help not to skip or slip any stitches, and it worked pretty well. The first thing to do is to cast on the number of stitches you want. The important thing is that you cast on an even number of stitches. In the final scarf, which is pretty wide, I ended up casting, I seem to remember, about 38 stitches. This is just a small sample. So we cast them on the regular needle, and now we pass on the circular needles. You could not do the first line and just start with two colors, but I think in the end it gives a nice little border. It's up to your preference. We're gonna start with the first knit row, so we're gonna knit the first stitch and knit the second stitch. Then we're gonna pass the yarn forward like that. We're gonna slip the stitch purlwise and then knit the one after. And this we're gonna do until the end. And this creates a sort of a double stitch, which is the brioche stitch. And we're just gonna keep doing this until we reach the end, and we're gonna knit the last stitch. So yarn forward, slip purlwise, and knit. Now we are gonna introduce our second color, and to do that we need to slide all our work to the other side of the needles. So we're just gonna take it and slide it to the other side, like so. Then we're gonna take our second color. In this case, you can just do a little loop to join it and start working with that. And then in the end, we're just gonna weave the ends in. Or you could tie it to the loose end, but it's a bit less pretty that way. We're gonna start by attaching the new yarn, and we're gonna knit the first stitch. On the ends, we always knit, so we get a sort of a knit border. And this is a purl row. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna bring the yarn forward, like before. We're gonna slip purlwise. Then with the yarn forward, we're gonna loop it around like that, and then we're gonna purl the next stitch, which is the double stitch. Now, once we've done the first one, the yarn is automatically forward, so we don't need to move it. We just slip, pull the yarn around, and then purl the next double stitch. And this, again, we're gonna do until the end. So slip, yarn around, and then purl the double stitch. Slip, pull the yarn around, and purl. When we get to the end, to keep with our border, we're simply going to put the yarn towards the back, because we have the last stitch, so yarn back, and we're gonna knit the last stitch. So now we have both colors working, and we find ourselves with both working yarns on the same side. This means we can just turn our work like we would normally do. We just finished using the gray one, so obviously the next one will be the white. But in case you abandon your work, if you take a look at it, when you have a majority of loops, single loops of one color, it means you need to work the other color. So in this case, we have gray loops, and we're gonna start working the white. So we move the gray to the back. We're gonna knit our first stitch. In this case, you can see that we need to do another purl row. So we're gonna knit our first stitch, then we're gonna move our yarn to the front, slip purlwise, wrap, and purl. And this is exactly the same we did before, and we're gonna just do that to the end. So slip, wrap, and purl, and when we get to the last stitch, we're gonna pull the yarn towards the back, and we're gonna knit the last one. Now in this case, we have working yarn to both sides, which means we need to slide our work because we need to work the gray. Because we just finished the white, single stitches are white, which means we have to work the gray. And now we're gonna have a knit row. This pattern works with 2 knit rows and 2 purl rows. We can see that easily because we have our single stitch and then a double stitch immediately. This is the signal that you need to work a knit row. So knit row, as before, we knit the first one, we knit the second one, then again yarn forward, slip the stitch purlwise, and then just knit the one after. Remember, in the knit row you have to keep putting the yarn forward after every stitch, because it doesn't do that automatically like in the purl one. So every time, yarn forward, slip, and knit. And this is the sequence. Depending on the stitches you find in front of you, you have to either do a knit row or a purl row. Let's say you abandon your work for a couple days because something happens, you don't have time, you don't know where you ended up. So easily you can understand which color you need to work depending on the single stitches, because it's going to be the opposite color. And again, based on the type of stitches you have, if you have 2 single stitches in the beginning, you have to work a purl row. If you have a single stitch and a double stitch, you have to work a knit row. It seems a bit complicated if you've never done brioche, but in the end, it's a very, very simple stitch. It's very repetitive. Once you've done a couple rows, it's going to be super easy for you to grasp. It's also very fun. I found it so fun to do. Very, very easy just to do it in front of TV. It's very relaxing. So I encourage you to do it. This is basically it. Obviously, in my case, I measured the product because I wanted a scarf for myself, so I wanted a pretty long, and I got it to 150 1 meter 50. But again, you can do it longer, shorter, narrower, or wider. This is pretty much up to you. But I do encourage you to try this stitch because it's very, very fun. So here again, I'm just showing you the different sides because I wanted to do a full 4-set repeat. But trust me, it's exactly the same thing. So here is the scarf I did. You can see the final result. It's super soft, super fluffy. It's a very, very thick stitch. It encapsulates a lot of air, so it's very, very warm and very, very soft. You can see the difference between the sides, and this is the white border that we get with the single color cast on. And now, since I wanted to do a little bit extra, I wanted to attach some tassels. So I'm going to show you how I did them. Just took a piece of cardboard and yarn of the two colors, just wrapped it on sort of deliberately, trying to get around the same thickness on all of those. Then with a crochet hook, I just pass the yarn underneath to sort of make sure it doesn't go anywhere. You could take them off the cardboard now, but I prefer to leave them on just for an extra safety measure. And then I just triple tie at the top, and this is where our tassel is going to be attached. So just pull it, make sure it doesn't move and doesn't go anywhere. And when that's done on all four, in my case, they can be pulled off the cardboard. So I just snip the continuous thread between them and then pull them off. Like so. Pretty easy. Now with another piece of yarn, we're just gonna tie at the length you prefer. This is very up to you, it's very deliberate. It's super easy and they have a pretty nice effect. So I double tie them on both sides for some extra strength, but it's still fairly delicate, so you need to take care of them a little bit. And then again, double tie them on the other side. And you could snip that off, but I just leave them so they sort of melt in with the other yarn for the tassel. And then we're just gonna cut off the bottom, give it a little trim, and that's our tassel done. Now in my case, I decided to braid them, braid the attaching yarn like so. And then to attach them to the scarf, I just decided to do it in the points. So first of all, I weaved in the ends, measured that so that the length of the tassels would be the same on everyone. I pinned them in place, but you can just measure. And then with the tapestry needle, I wove all the ends inside first, and then I tied each color. I divide them by color in this case, but it doesn't really matter. I tied them together when they were already woven in, and then again I wove the ends in. So you can see here I'm just passing them through basically just to stop the braid at the length I want it to. And then I tie all of them in with the double tie. And then I have these ends that, again, with the needle, I'm just gonna weave through. And to me, that gave me the best, cleanest results to attach the tassels. So once everything is woven through, it's pretty secure. And this is the final look. So I hope you liked it. I hope you're gonna try to make it. Please let me know what you thought. Like and subscribe, it's a great help. And I'll see you next time. Bye!